All right, thank you again for tuning into Go AZ Motorcycles Scottsdale's YouTube channel. My name is Jason Paredes. I'm the parts department manager here. We're going to shoot another how-to video in our how-to video series. Today we're going to talk about removing and installing grips on your motocross bike. We've got a 2006 CRF 450 here. We've got lock-on grips. We're going to switch from our used lock-on grips to some new glue-on grips. We're going to show you some step-by-step on taking these lock-on grips off. We'll talk briefly about the benefits to the lock-on grips. Then we're going to go back on with some glue-on grips, sort of the old school style, and show you guys out there who want to switch from lock-ons on maybe a KTM or a Husqvarna, how to go to a glue-on grip, and we're going to talk about some of the benefits to those also. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, my name is Jason Paredes, and this is Go AZ Motorcycles Scottsdale's YouTube channel. Let's move on. One of the first things we want to do when we're doing grips is we want to get the handlebar controls out of the way so that we can get our grips on and off easily without struggling, especially if we're going back on with glue-on grips. So we're going to get in here and we're just going to pop our engine switch out of the way. Make sure you don't lose any of this hardware. These pieces are small and not easily to replace. All right, you guys, now our controls are out of the way. The next thing we have to do is get our throttle side grip removed. And we've got lock-on, so that means our grip is now part of our throttle. So we're gonna have to remove and disassemble our throttle, get our throttle cables out of the way, and we're gonna have to put on a throttle tube. Today we're gonna be swapping this one out to our standard Motion Pro throttle tube. These things are inexpensive, and we normally have these things in stock. So again, we're swapping out from our Pro Taper lock-ons. We're gonna put a Motion Pro throttle tube in place of this. Let's jump into it. All right, you guys, so we're almost all the way taken apart. Here's our used clamp-on throttle and throttle tube and grip that is bonded to this throttle. This thing's out of here. We're gonna move on to taking our next lock-on grip off, at which point we're gonna start working on cleaning up our handlebar so we can start our install of our new grips. Let's jump in. All right, you guys, we have our left-hand clutch side throttle tube off now. That thing came off pretty easy. This side is knurled, so if it doesn't come off easy, you can always apply a little bit of lubricant that's pressurized down in there, or you can use some air. That seems to work pretty well. This one came off pretty easy. We're gonna get rid of those, and we're gonna get ready to go back to the old school glue-on grips and some safety wire. Let's jump into it, guys. First things first is we're gonna get these handlebars nice and clean, where we're gonna make glue contact because we want that contact to make a nice adhesion and bond so that we're not sliding off. And we're gonna finish it up with some safety wire to make sure that we're on there tight and it looks factory. When we're gonna clean our grips, we wanna make sure that we're using something good. If we're really old school, we're gonna wanna dunk a rag in a bucket of gasoline. You guys, it's 2021. We're not sticking our hands in gasoline. We're beyond that. Today I'm gonna show you guys a nice product. I use this thing on a ton of applications. It's the Honda branded Pro Oils Chain Cleaner. This stuff works great on just cleaning up a wheel, cleaning up your chain, or a non-toxic, non-caustic way to get in there and clean our grips up really nice. It's gonna clean the surface. It's not gonna tear the paint. It's not gonna ruin any anodized pieces that it may bump into if you've got a nice clutch perch lever, brake perch lever, brake lever, any of that. It's gonna get nice and clean, and it's not damaging anything. We wanna make sure we go over here too on our throttle side. We wanna get all this junk that's built up underneath out of the way. So we've got a nice sliding surface for this new throttle tube we put on. And just like that, it's nice and clean. We didn't have to use anything too gnarly to clean up our grip surface or throttle surface. Honda Chain Cleaner works great. It's easy on you. It's easy on the environment. Let's move on to the next step. All right, guys, so the next thing we've got is starting to reinstall our glue-on style grips. Today we're going to use the new Pro Taper 1/3 waffle slide-ons. These things are really nice, super tacky, and I like that they've got the new 1/3 waffle. It's not a 1/2, it's not a 1/4. It's that nice sweet spot in between, so you're not getting a lot of feedback from the waffling on your palm. You're going to still get good grip feedback from your fingertips. These things are awesome. They're going to go great on. We're also going to be using some Pro Honda Chemicals hand grip cement. I've used a lot of hand grip glue, adhesion, and cement. This stuff is my absolute favorite. It little goes a long way and it lasts forever because it's got a nice big tube. Really inexpensive. We keep this stuff in stock all the time. Let's get on with our program. All right, so on our left-hand side, we're just going to apply a small amount of this grip cement right into the grip here. And remember, a little goes a long way. We're just going to do a little bit of application on the inside. And there we go. We ought to have plenty. Make sure this goes someplace safe. And you want to make sure that you're remembering where your waffle is going to land, approximately where these fingers are going to land on the bike. And then we're just going to start applying it right on there. And that one went on too easy. I didn't even need my air. And then we can set it to where we want it. This is pretty nice because the Pro Taper is pointed right at you if you were standing here on your rider triangle, and that's going to land that thing just about perfect. The next side, we're going to need to apply our new throttle tube from Motion Pro onto the handlebar before we go on with our grip, so that's going to be our next step. All right, guys, now we put our new Motion Pro throttle tube on there. That thing went on way too easy. Thanks a lot for the guys at Motion Pro for making a nice product. We're going to go on with our throttle side grip today. And we're just gonna, again, put a small amount of this Honda Bond cement right in there. Just gonna move it around so we've got it all the way around. A little goes a long way. So what's really nice about it, makes it last forever. And again, we're going to mind where our waffling's at. And we're just going to pull that right on. And again, we want to mind where our waffling's at because that's going to be where our fingers are going to make contact, and that's where we're getting our grip. And it's really nice because, again, the Pro Taper logo is sticking up. That's going to kind of help you guide where that waffling ought to go. We're going to make sure this bad boy's on all the way. All right, now the glue's all the way through both of these grips now. On most cases, if you're not going to safety wire it, you're going to want to make sure these things set up for at least 24 to 48 hours to make sure that you're not going to be riding around with your grip coming off in your hand. That's no fun. I know from experience, but to ensure that doesn't happen, we're going to follow up with some safety wire on our grips. We've got these Pro Tapers that have preset channels for 3 spots for safety wire. We're just going to do 2 today because this bike's for our average Joe. This isn't going to be for our motocross winner here today. Next step is going to be the safety wire. All right, you guys, so we've got our safety wire here. If you're not familiar, it's just a pretty thin, pliable safety wire. It comes in various thicknesses and lengths. There's not a whole lot to it. Looks like this piece is being sold by our friends at Progressive Suspension. I've got a nice set of safety wire pliers here. This is going to be really important in order to make sure you go on well. Again, you can use a lot of different things to accomplish this. Fingers, regular slip joint pliers. I really like the safety wire pliers because it makes the job a lot easier. You're just going to pull out a small portion. We're going to cut off a bit of it. Once we have about as much as we need, we're going to give ourselves a quick lap up and over and back down. We're going to make sure that this is going to be out of the way of a fingertip. We don't want our gloves to snag. We want to make sure it's out of the way to catch and ruin our fun. All right, you guys, so we've got this nice and tightened up. We're gonna cut off most of this excess, and then we're gonna push this up into the grip to get that last little bit out of the way. Because again, this is to keep the grip on, not to tear our gloves and hands up. So there's one lap. We're gonna follow it up with 3 more sections, and then we're gonna start putting our controls on. All right, you guys, we have now done our grips with the glue. The safety wire is done. It's on nice and tight, trimmed away. We're just gonna reset our controls back to where we're comfortable, make sure our throttle slack's all set. We're gonna get our bike ready to go, top off our fuel, make sure our tires have some pressure, and it's time to hit the trails. Thanks so much again for tuning in to Go AZ Motorcycles Scottsdale's YouTube channel. This has been our how-to on installing slip-on grips. We glued them, safety wired them. We used Pro Taper grips. We used a Motion Pro throttle tube. We've got all of these pieces in stock and ready for you guys. Come and see us. We've got plenty of parts professionals that can help you get your bike back on the trail comfortable, dialed in. If you've got any questions, please feel free to leave the questions in the comment section. You can call or email us. We are happy to help you. Thanks again for tuning in, and have an excellent day.